Hey guys, this is a video with my unfiltered thoughts. More information will be down in the description. Hi, it's Melissa. I'm here with big hair to hide my mess back there. First of all, I have been missing for 2 weeks. I've been trying to be more consistent with my channel, and then all this big stuff happened, as many of you know. I feel like it wouldn't be me, and I wouldn't be me if I didn't come on and say something about it. Of course, my kids, as always, are here and in the background. Exactly. Delight in their noise as I get to be kids right here in my living room. As I've said before, I am a mom of 2. And just thinking about everything that's going on in the world today is overwhelming. Everybody deals with things in a different way. And for me, my mode of coping is kind of going within myself, going within my own little cave right here in this room. Where do I even start? Aside from the fact of dealing with COVID, that can be a separate video. But anyway, in any event, dealing with that, trying not to scare my kids while trying to explain it to my kids and what's going on to my kids is one thing. You know, I don't want to stay on that topic too much because this is about me and you and everybody. When I started dealing with social media and realizing that I wanted to have my own business and have my own online presence, I decided to, I'm a private person anyway, so it's hard for me to even make these videos and let people inside my life. It's just me. I am that type of person. I let a very few, I'm trying to say very small and very few, a very few amount of people in my space. And that's what works for me, for what I go through. So for me to get on a platform where I'm exposed to millions of people and a million people can make their judgments based on just what they see is very enervating. It's scary. What's more scary is putting out my opinion and my actual facts, because I am a person that has a basis in science. I have a degree in health science, and before that, before changing my major, my degree was in biology. So my background is research. So I also was a minor in English. My background is research, reading, learning everything I can learn about a given topic. My background is also that I come from 2 parents that, as you've seen as I said in previous videos, that my parents are no longer living. They passed away. It's coming up actually to my father's 2-year anniversary. My mom's 2-year passed in December. Yes, and they passed it was very close. They passed within 9 months of each other. I think I said that in another video. But in any event, I come from very intelligent parents. I'm not bragging or anything. I'm coming from parents that pushed me to learn and educate myself and to be something. And to always have a backup plan, pretty much. My dad was a musician, but he also was a teacher. He had a master's in education. And he didn't start that till maybe in his 30s, which is crazy because ever since I was cognizant of anything, ever since I could speak and understand, he was always teaching me. And what he taught me the most was about racial affairs. was about how they see us, was about how how things are in society, how they portray things to be, and how things really are. I grew up with him telling me about different historical events. I grew up with pictures of black, of African, I should say, of African architecture and things like that. And I grew up learning not only what has happened in the worst sides, in the worst things that have happened to us, but also what we're capable of and what's the best things that can come from us and that have came from us. And the things that, as a society, propaganda and all this other stuff is put into play so that there's an expectation of us within each group of people, each race of people. There's people that are at different class systems and different levels of society. There's poor people, there's rich people, there's people in the middle, and there's people that they might do the wrong thing. From my understanding and my life and what I've been through, I also like to, on my own, look at psychology. And from my standpoint, and from things that I've learned, I learned that we may not understand what people do, but we can look back at what people have gone through to understand their process, their thought process of doing certain things. So things that happen in childhood affect, relationships. Let's give that as an example. If I grew up as a baby and nobody ever hugged me, I'm gonna grow up with maybe a mistrust of people. That's just an example. People in my community, even in my state, even in my city where I live, have different experiences in life. And this experience is just based off the color of their skin. It's just based off of how we were born. There's people that want to dispute that there is no such thing as privilege. But let's just start with the fact that my people, coming from slaves, let's start with the fact that we're detached from our culture and something that unites us. Let's start with that fact. Let's start with the fact that everything that would unite us as a people has been destroyed little by little. Let's start with that. Let's start with how our language was stripped away. Let's start with how our traditions were ripped away. Let's start with how our religion was ripped away. So we'll start with that. Let's divide them, split them up. Let's put different tribes together that don't speak the same language so they cannot communicate and come together and overthrow. Okay, there's that. Let's make them hate each other. Let's split them up and say within their group, these people are good and these people are bad. These people are better than these people. Those things could be based off of skin tone. Those things could be based off of the one that we raped and we made their baby light-skinned. Let's bring them in the house and keep them outside so they could be jealous. So they can hate each other. They're not allies. The one that's in the house can't, gather intel and do anything because they're busy hating each other. Let's tell them, let's go a little bit further. Let's tell them they're free, but they're not a whole person, so they don't count. their vote doesn't count. They can't vote. How about that? They can't vote. They can't even touch the same shit we touch. Excuse my language, but they can't even touch the same thing that we can touch. They can't go to school. They can't go to the same school we go to. No education. No, let's keep them ignorant. They're overcoming. Through all these things that they put to us, we have overcome them in different ways. Nobody can argue with me that these things don't exist. So while we're overcoming, we're talking to each other now. We're telling each other, okay, let's focus, let's get educated. We need to get money. We need to get property. We need to do this. We need to have something to pass down to our children. Let's not sell them property. Let's just kill them randomly. Let's just grab one and throw them up in the tree and let everybody see it so that they mentally know not to fuck around and come in and try to encroach upon the white people's stuff. Just let them stay. They don't have to work. Well, they do have to work. They can work for us, but let's give them a penny. Let's give them a penny. We don't care. They could work for us, but hey, they can't say what they want. They can't speak up. They're not being treated fairly. We get to call them all kinds of N-words and rape their children and pull their children out of where they're supposed to be and accuse them and not give them fair trials and kill their children because their children can't grow up and have children. Let's do that. They fight for civil rights. We black people fight for civil rights. Okay, let's infiltrate them. You see this side, they want to buy guns and they want to stand up for themselves. I mean, which everybody has a right to, but not them. Let's call them criminals. Let's call them terrorists. Even though they're doing programs to school children and give people food that don't have access to good food for them. Let's they're evil, they're bad. Put it on the news. Oh, the other ones, the ones that are peacefully protesting, nah, we'll just spray them down and give them tear gas and hose them down. They're stupid. We don't want to eat in the same place as them. We don't want to, have them go in our school. That's gross. We desegregate. Okay, we can desegregate, but let's keep it segregated, but let's not tell them it's segregated. So they can buy a house, but it has to be over there next to all those buildings and smoke and the industrial area. They can live over there, and only them. If you live there and they move there, you need to move somewhere else. They can't move in that area. Let them stay over there. Let's put drugs in their neighborhood, make it accessible. Let's be a little lenient on the people who are gathering together and creating their own system, like gangs. Let's be lenient on the people who are committing crimes within the community, because we don't care. They can go kill each other. Let's make it accessible for them to get drugs. Let's make it accessible for them to get weapons, and half of them will be addicted to stuff, and half of them will be killing each other because they want to sell more stuff. And at the end of that, let's arrest all of them and put them in jail for the rest of their lives, no matter what they did, and no matter if it was the first time or if we didn't catch them doing anything, if they just were in the same place as something else happened, just take them all. Oh yeah, those people who are activists, get them on drugs. Or matter of fact, let's just find them, arrest them, and plant drugs on them. It doesn't matter if it was really their drugs or not, because it's my word against theirs. I'm the police, right? Matter of fact, let's beat their asses when we arrest them. It doesn't matter what the reason is. Let's beat the shit out of them. Let's beat them until they die. Nobody will care. We don't care. You know, we're the police. We are the law. We're above the law. We know the mayor. We know the judge. We know the people, the prosecutor. We are immune. So let's get popping. This is stuff I'm talking about that has happened over the years. That last one has not changed. So, you know, it doesn't matter which one of us, the you know, based on the classes and whatever, it doesn't matter which one of us. It doesn't matter if it was the Harvard graduate. It doesn't matter if it was a drug dealer. It doesn't matter. You don't deserve to die when you're dealing with the police, who are supposed to protect and serve. And as a matter of fact, they are also first responders. I'm an EMT, and we as first responders are supposed to be able to know the signs of when somebody is in distress. They learn that each policeman has to go through training for that. So you're sitting there and telling me, for some of these cases, that somebody is literally in distress, they can't breathe, and nobody is there saying, hey, maybe you should not do that so you don't get in trouble. Even if you don't care about human life, you should not do that, because you're gonna get in trouble. That is beyond me. So they can't say that they don't understand when somebody is gonna die under their hand. They can't say that. As their first responders, they know. As a first responder, you know how long people can go without oxygen. You know how long, you know the signs of respiratory distress. And you mean to tell me that these people stand on people's necks and stuff, and or do chokeholds or do whatever they do, and don't think anything of it, or don't even pretend to give CPR? At the very minimal, these people should not be able to work anywhere. They should not be on administrative leave. They should be gone on the fact that they're a first responder, and it's legally their job to do something if somebody is in distress, based off that fact and from that perspective. So what are we to say if they don't do anything? I'm not gonna mention everything, because there's a lot of videos out here and a lot of information out here, which is one of the things and one of the reasons why I have taken so long, because it's like an overload. It's an overload. It's something that it's not over yet. My girl, Breonna Taylor, I'm calling her my girl because she reminds me of my friend. She was an EMT. She was in her house asleep. So my stance on this, it feels like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how far you come in life. It doesn't matter what you've made of yourself, how much schooling you went to, and how you pull yourself up by these fucking bootstraps they keep trying to talk about. It doesn't matter. Because of this. And me, I don't understand why. This is my daily life. This is me having to explain to my child with a disability that we need to get the behaviors together, because your teacher, your school official is talking about calling the police. They're not talking about getting you evaluated. They're talking about calling the police on you, and you're in elementary, you're in early education. This is me trying to explain that to them. This is me when I was younger, getting told by my dad had anxiety towards cops that my own grandfather was beaten in my own driveway that belongs to him. He was a homeowner, or he owned the home we stay in, and he was beaten right in his own driveway by police because my grandmother, his wife, was she could pass for white. She was light skinned and she could pass for white. And whatever story they wanted to come up with, I believe he might have been the one to call the cops, and they turned around and beat him to where my dad didn't know who he was coming in the house. His face was bubbled up. This stuff is not new to me, and it's not something that I've been walking around my life like pretending it doesn't exist. This goes beyond anybody's wildest imagination. This stuff that we deal with, and people say it's not there, goes into the healthcare system, and it's not just people, calling you N-word here and there. It's people that have certain beliefs in their head about us, no matter what we do to try and better ourselves. For example, as I said, I'm a mother of two. Why do I go in, after my second child was born, and have people ask me if my kids have the same father? They do. Why is that even anybody's business or a question? Why, when I'm in pain, I'm told I can't get medication? I've had literally a hole in my chest and told, oh, well, we don't give medication. But there's people out here walking down the street looking like zombies that they gave the medication and they got hooked on. But me, because of this, that I've been told, oh, well, no, we didn't, I've had a tooth that needed a root canal, and they can look at it and they can see that it needed a root canal with the use of x-ray. And this is a place that I was established with, a dentist that I was established with, and I have had them say, we can't give you any prescription, meaning that it was a place in my neighborhood, in my community, and I'm trying to support my community and go to a community-based place, but they can't do, I guess that's considered that was considered like endodontics or something like that. So they couldn't do the root canal. They can only refer me to who can do the root canal. But still, you can't give me high-strength ibuprofen. You don't have to give me drugs. The thing is, it's going in for something and not being believed. I wish I had everybody's name to list here. I'm sorry, I didn't prepare for the video. This is just off the top of my head. There's a woman that went to the hospital. I believe she had a broken ankle. If I find everything, I will put it at the end of this video. But there's a woman that had a injury, I believe, in her leg, and she goes in severe pain. They tell her that she's seeking medicine, or they say, we can't help you. They put her out on, they try to kick her out pretty much. Or they call the police and have the police arrest her. Her leg was hurting. This place called the police arrest her. She died because she had a blood clot. As a medical professional, I haven't even practiced yet as an EMT. I have been in other places in the medical field, but I just am a newly established EMT. But leg pain with a leg injury, you should check that. You should check that. Because your bone, anyway, it doesn't even matter. I'm not gonna even get into the science of it. But if I heard somebody say they have extreme pain and they had a fracture or something like that, I would ask, you know, have you been sitting for this amount of time, this, that, or the other? With a the reason why she passed away is that she had a blood clot, which is common to happen if you have a complicated, like if you have a fracture or if you have a bone that's broken. Blood clot can happen because your body is trying to repair that bone, and there's vessels inside your bone. There's blood marrow inside your bone, so there's a potential for clotting inside that bone if it breaks. So if somebody has a prior injury and they come in with extreme pain that's new, you should do your due diligence to check them. Why would you kick somebody out of an emergency room and then call the police? It was most likely because she said she wasn't leaving. So when we try to advocate for ourselves, I have a whole bunch of stories that is not even scratching the surface. But anyway, when we try to advocate for ourselves, we get the police called for us, and then we get into the same situations. It's just a lot. It's upsetting. I knew I would get upset doing this. This is why I am taking a long time to do this. Anyway, this is why I took my time in making this, because I know I was already very emotional. I was watching just watching Maya Angelou's story, which is available on YouTube. It's actually on YouTube that I was watching it, and there was a moment where her grandmother was being tormented and just made fun of these 3 little white girls younger than her, and she had to just stand there, smile, and take it. And Maya was like, they live on your land, why are you taking this behavior? And she was like, if this was my land and I did this and I had that and this, that, and the third, this wouldn't happen to me. I wouldn't let them. And Maya Angelou's grandmother smacked her and told her pretty much the conversation that all of us as Black people have had to have with our kids. When they see you, they don't care that you're a little kid. They don't care that you own their land. They don't care if they're on your land. They don't care if they're in your house. They don't care who you are. They don't care if you are the mayor. When they see you, you're just Black. And so there's nothing against anybody, any of my brothers and sisters that's out here doing what they have to do to survive. Because when you go through things in life, you react differently. So while I'm not out there marching, I'm making this video. I can't go out there and march. I have 2 kids that I'm solely responsible for. And that's what my place is here. My place is with my words, and my place is with my dollar. I am not supporting anything or anybody who has been shady during this time. Anybody, you don't have to agree with the way that things are going. You don't have to participate in the way that things are going. But one, if you open your mouth and everything's all hunky-dory and you're acting like none of this happened or is happening, this is my daily life. I just had to tell my kids that, like, don't go in the store acting like this. My kids touch everything, and that's part of their sensory. It's a sensory thing for them. They touch everything in the store. And I have to tell them, don't do that, because you'll draw attention. You'll draw somebody to think you're stealing. I have to tell my kids, my kids are 9 and 11, and I have to tell them that. I have to tell them things like that. That's what hurts. I cried at that movie in Maya Angelou because I don't know when that took place. I don't know how long ago that was, but maybe in the 1930s. I don't know. I'm sorry if that's offensive, but I don't know when that part of her life took place. But I cried because I'm like, why are we still having to do this right now, today? And that was after Ahmaud Arbery, when I heard about his story. They talk about our health and how we have this health issue and that health issue. But look at him. He was running, he was exercising, and that happened to him. It goes so deep. It goes so deep, and you only know if you live it. Where I live is one of those inner city areas, and I can't go out right now and within walking distance, if I didn't have a car, and get vegetables. I cannot. I have to get in my car and drive at least, a mile. And then I'm like, well, what about people who live in a more dispersed area? Do they have to deal with that? It goes so deep. There's a reason why there's no good, places to buy good, healthy food around here. There's a reason why you get WIC when you're low income, and they only give you dairy. And not saying that some people love their dairy. I'm saying it's not the best. I'm saying if it's not coming out of you, why does your kid need to drink milk? If you have a problem with, but anyway, I'm not gonna go into that. I'll cut that out. But they like, you're on WIC for low income, and they say, okay, you can get cheese, but you can't get deli cheese, fresh cheese. You can only get these craft plastic singles and stuff like that. You can get fruit, but it has to be the canned fruit, or the frozen fruit, not the fresh fruit. I think they started changing that a little bit when my kids were babies, but as I said, they're older now. But even the systems that are supposed to be helping, they're nothing. I did try, when I didn't have a car, to go get WIC at my area store, my corner store, my bodega. They gave me the fake cheese. They had brown bananas, and that's pretty much only vegetable or fruit they had that wasn't canned. And I understand they don't have that much refrigeration in that small store, but I can't walk a block without getting liquor. It goes so deep. And the healthcare portion is the reason why I became a doula. With 3 times as Black women more likely to die or to have a poor outcome from childbirth in a developed country, a country with the best health systems in the world. I worked for one of them, one of the best hospitals in the world. It may be second best now, but it was at one time number 1. And I worked for them. And we have that, but our statistics still show the same thing. Our statistics show that it's race. It's not, our education level. It's not our income level. It's not our socioeconomic status, which is the same thing. It is not where we grew up. It is our race. So, that was my basis, because I did go through some things through my pregnancy that were just appalling. Some things were very good, but some things were just appalling. Through my pregnancy, after my pregnancy, things like that. That's the reason why I became a doula, because I wanted to help women to understand that certain things and certain interventions are not necessary. In fact, put you at a higher risk. And there's certain things that you can educate yourself on. And that's my goal. I'm working on getting my offerings in place. It's not just a doula, but a childbirth educator. Because, like I said, you're born into this. We're born into this. And, it's crazy that, like, when I think of women dying in childbirth, I would want to think of what happened back in the 1800s when the body wasn't completely understood. Like, it was like, okay, it's a 50-50 chance if you're going to come home and raise these babies. But it's a risk for us. And why is it a risk for us? They don't want us here. Not to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's it. They don't want us here. Why don't they want us here? That's the question. That's what I'm trying to understand. We didn't do nothing to them. They came and started doing stuff to us. We didn't ask to be here. They're like, oh, don't be here. Why did you bring us here? So this is a long video. I'm going to try to edit it as much as possible to make sense. But this is just a start. I'm going to put some information as I can, if I can, going through and telling the stories of the people who, you know, throughout the last few years suffered and died from police brutality is not my goal. I will put as much information as I can so that anybody who's uneducated on this can find the information they need. Hopefully I made sense, but I'm just giving from my experience and what I have learned. There's so much more that I have learned and have. If you want to hear about anything, it's crazy. If you're having a hard time, you can leave me a message. We could chat. I am on Instagram, and I don't mind people sending me messages in there. You could leave a comment below. And, you know, like I said in the beginning, I was having trouble thinking about if I should talk about this or if I should. I'm not ever going to remain quiet. I'm going to do things in my way. But if I should make a public post about how I feel. But honestly, if you can't listen to what I'm saying and understand it, or try to find, you know, if you can't listen without trying to find a counterpoint to anything I said, then I'm not for you and you're not for me. And you can gladly, like, leave my platforms, any of my platforms that I put this on. You can gladly leave it and leave it alone. And, you know, there's people that are for me and understanding of what I'm talking about. If you're not a, you know, if you're not a black person, and, you know, it's not the time for us to be all, you know, inclusive right now. You know, we're the only ones that y'all ask to be inclusive when nobody wanted to include us. So, you know, if my message is not for you, you can kindly leave. Don't come and try and disagree with me, because I guess if you want statistics, I can bring you statistics. So we'll do a little research project for y'all. I'm not in the mood. So I'm posting this. It'll be an hour long probably, but I said everything, and thank you for listening. As long as you listen. This thing is so painful. It's so painful to know that so much time has passed and we have come so far, but it's like we're just on a treadmill. It says we're running at such and such a speed, and we did 10 miles, but we're still in the same place. And God, it's so frustrating. I'm trying not to cry. Like, it doesn't sound like I'm crying, but if you can see, my eyes are red. In any event, I do have more content coming up. Probably gonna post today or maybe tomorrow some self-care type stuff, because that's what we all need right now. And hopefully still like my channel. Hopefully we can find some new people to like my channel. But thank you for listening, and I don't know, just be great, be you, and do your own form of activism. All right. Love y'all.